Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prashadane Nirvise Sasunyavadi Paskya Chade Shatarane. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shivasiri Shri Gauravakta. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's always nice to speak about the philosophy of Lord Krishna as given to us by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Uh, it's actually our duty to speak um, to others about. Let me see if I can raise this a little bit here. I don't like to get the mantra in my. I want people to see the mantra, but I apologize. But this is the best way to get the eye contact. So, uh, yeah, our primary duty is to become Krishna conscious and to preach Krishna consciousness for the benefit of all living entities. Uh, so in understanding Krishna consciousness, it is a science, a process that has been handed down from Lord Chaitanya to the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. And from there, we have all the great acharyas, all the way up to the present day Acharya Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. The science is always the same, even going back to Lord Brahma. Uh, but we, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are mostly interested in Lord Chaitanya, from Lord Chaitanya to the present day. However, we do study, of course, in Bhagavatam, the many verses describing Lord Krishna given by Lord Brahma. Also, we study the Brahma Samhita. So Lord Brahma is the Pitambar. He is the founder of the Sampradaya and the most important acharya for us, teacher. So what I find to be the most essential teaching for us as jivatmas is to come to the understanding that we're not the body. That is our duty. And it is the highest realization. It is an essential realization. Or I should say, it's essential for advancing into a deeper understanding of Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada emphasized this aham brahmasmi. And until we are outside of the bodily concept, our Krishna consciousness is a little bit unsteady. And it's not quite as fruitful as it can be. But to get to this stage of aham brahmasmi takes a while. It's a product of chanting, hearing and chanting, knowledge and detachment. It's a gift that's bestowed upon us by Lord Krishna, because at that time, when we realize we're not the body, the modes of nature stop acting upon us, and karma is pretty much finished. That's a very, very high state to come to, but it is a preliminary state of for pure Krishna consciousness to occur. So if we still identify with the body, if we are still mentally involved with the body, then we have some work to do still. And the only thing that we can do is hear and chant, do our different types of service as sincerely as possible. There is no other requirement, method, or prayaschita to achieve this aham brahmasmi stage. We simply go on chanting as sincerely as we can, and Krishna being pleased with us. Actually, it is because of Lord Krishna being pleased with us that he says, I dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge, destroy the darkness born of ignorance. So we are basically petitioning Krishna to bestow his mercy upon us. And this is the type of humility and purity and integrity that is required, this dependency. And we learn that when we're not the body, we can understand how dependent we really are. Because we are, after all, 1/10,000th the tip of a hair, very tiny, and we're easily swayed by the wind, by anything. The body is very, very, but not only the body is very temporary and susceptible, but also the soul is very, also requires shelter. Even in the Aham Brahmasmi stage, in Krishna consciousness, you will sense this dependency on Krishna. And so that is a very good stage to come to. At that point, we can really execute deeper aspects of Krishna consciousness known as Raganuga Bhakti. At that point, Raganuga can begin for us because we can incorporate the deeper aspects of Krishna consciousness into our practice. But as well, we can be effective preachers because when we're not the body, we're not affected by the demands of the body. We're not running after material desire for this and for that. We keep our senses under control, and we can easily see the difference between someone who has a bodily lifestyle and someone who doesn't. It's very easy to see that. So we want to help others, and that's part of our responsibility as disciples of Srila Prabhupada, grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and followers of Lord Chaitanya. We must exhibit compassion. So this is part of our practice, but it's not the complete practice. It's not that we give up our own bhajan in order to save somebody else. There has to be a balance. And actually, Prabhupada was even more interested in making sure that we saved ourselves. But there is that point that if we're interested in helping others, which is also a rare quality, then Krishna will bestow his blessings upon us to also help us save ourselves. So there's no loss or diminution if we are reaching out to help others in their Krishna consciousness. In fact, it is a requirement. We must do this. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there is no one more dear to me than he who preaches this philosophy or this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So there is tremendous opportunity once you can understand that you're not the body. It just seems like there's a field of opportunity with no limits. I believe, and this is just my own limited, extremely limited perception of our spiritual master. But I could understand that without identifying with the body, there's just no limit as to what you feel you can do to spread Krishna consciousness. There's no obstacle. There's nothing stopping you. And this, I believe, is what the beauty of Srila Prabhupada. When you saw and associated with Prabhupada, you sensed there's no obstacle for him. He has this fixed mindset on delivering Krishna with the greatest compassion, the greatest knowledge, the greatest intensity. And because of that, there's really no one like him. We have so much that we owe Srila Prabhupada because it takes someone with that type of intensity and purity to to call us back to home, back to Godhead. To have that level of Krishna consciousness is very rare. And Srila Prabhupada can, through his teachings and his association, his Vani and Bapu, he is blessing all of us with his potency. It's not just for the few, it's for anyone who wants to seriously take up this practice. Anyone and everyone who will follow Srila Prabhupada and chant Hare Krishna can reach the same level or a similar level that Srila Prabhupada is on, because he wants us to achieve pure love of Krishna. That is the highest achievement in human life. And once you know that you're not the body, you never look back. There's nothing of interest any longer in the material world. Nothing. Nothing. Sex life is finished. The thought of having sex with a material body is abominable. It is not what we originally thought. The pleasure of sex life is so fleeting. We can understand now that its real purpose is for progeny. And when Srila Prabhupada taught us that, and Krishna mentions this in Bhagavad Gita, when we were young and our senses were strong, we could hardly believe that the only reason to have sex life is to have a child. We were so uninformed, or we had no taste yet in Krishna consciousness, so we couldn't compare. We thought that getting married in Krishna consciousness was still a license to have sex to some degree. It was better than having sex outside of Krishna consciousness. But when you become advanced in Krishna consciousness, which everyone should, right? This is the purpose of it. Having sex with a material body is so much lower than the pleasure of being with Krishna, meeting Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, doing anything in Krishna consciousness. And this elevated taste comes from realizing we're not the body. So how can we enjoy sex life if we're not the body? So yes, there's regulation for a married couple, and that's fine. And none of us should judge a married couple or look into their private activities at all. That is private and beyond our jurisdiction. Each individual or each couple needs to approach Krishna consciousness based on their adhikar, or their understanding. And the adhikar will grow higher and higher. That's another purpose of being a married couple. You protect yourself from outside interests, and you work together to develop through the chanting process and the Krishna conscious process. You become stronger, knowing that at some point you will become a better partner with your a better partner with your marriage partner, not just based on sex. It's based on devotional life, and it's based on your children and coming together with the purpose of worshiping Krishna. There's a much higher purpose for all of us, and that is another beautiful aspect of Krishna consciousness. You will not find anywhere else such a valid, endearing purpose as the purpose of spending one's life devoting one's energies to trying to please Lord Krishna. This is the best reason for living. It is the most fulfilling reason for living. And it is something very worthy of all of our time and our attention and our intelligence and our service attitude. There is nothing more satisfying than engaging ourselves in the service to Krishna, because Krishna is, after all, transcendental Godhead. He's full of bliss, and the blissful state of Lord Krishna is incomprehensible. It is the highest state anywhere to be found. There is no one on his level, nowhere. He is always in a youthful state, and he's never, ever, ever, even for a moment, growing old. He is captured youth eternally, and he wears it in the most beautiful way, and that's why he's our God. That is why he's our God. So he's merciful, he's beautiful, he's young, he's charming, and he's masterful. And this is why Lord Brahma, Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Bhakti Vinod, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and our Srila Prabhupada all worship Lord Krishna exclusively. It's called Ananya Bhakti. We are not just putting Krishna alongside Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Ganesh, even Lord Narayan, or other demigods. That is not our process. We separate out all the demigods. We separate out impersonalism, which is the Brahma Jyoti. All of that we separate out. And we only want the pure nectar, which is knowing Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Lord and worshiping him, trying to achieve pure love of God, surrendering everything, including our very body, let alone all of our possessions, all of our loved ones, all of our everything, our mind, intelligence, whatever we have possession of, we give to Lord Krishna. Just like Bali Maharaj, and just like Ambarish Maharaj, and just like Parikshit Maharaj, we follow in the footsteps of these Mahajans. We learn the path of full surrender. As they surrender to me, Krishna says, I reward accordingly. So he owns everything. We know from the pastime of Bali Maharaj, Krishna owns everything already. But he came as a dwarf Brahmin, the most beautiful form, to charm Bali into giving him just 3 steps of land. And then he transcendentally cheated him by taking all of his land, all the universes, and then finally put his divine foot on the head of Bali himself, which is such a covetous position to be in. He was so kind to Bali, because Krishna is that way. He's so kind. He loves bestowing his mercy. So he gave his mercy to Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj is a Mahajan that we follow in his footsteps of giving everything to the Lord, not just giving it to him, but giving it to Krishna with love. Yukta Vairagya, everything we have and everything that we are able to get, we use in Krishna's service, because our pleasure comes from being engaged in Krishna's service. Just like the Nitya Siddhas in Vrindavan, we follow in the footsteps of those Nitya Siddhas, trying to develop a mood of service for our dear Lord Krishna. Our greatest satisfaction is to develop some mood of devotion for Krishna. Birth after birth, Lord Chaitanya says, not just that we're trying even to go back to Godhead. Our desire is simply to please Krishna. Wherever he sends us in our next life is up to him. Our mission, our desire is to follow our great acharyas into our next birth without any personal desire other than the desire to please Guru and Krishna. That's pure bhakti. That is pure, unalloyed bhakti. And when we achieve pure, unalloyed bhakti, there's nothing greater that makes us more happy. In the moment, we can remember Krishna with our full consciousness, our full heart and soul, and we can cry in ecstasy that we have his association, that we are able to serve him. Thank you, Lord Krishna, for creating me, that I have this opportunity to serve and know your lotus feet. That's the prayer of all great Vaishnavas. There's nothing more. We don't want any fruit from the material world for our devotion, because there's no fruit as sweet as Krishna. Nothing is not even close. If you want to make a close comparison, you can say, well, how about the celestial planets? Or how about Brahman realization? Is that close? Because if you're describing a house in the material world, or a material husband or wife, or a car, or a bank balance, or liquor or drugs, that's not even comparable. You cannot even make that comparison. What we can say is chasing the fruit of activities of material life is because we don't have a taste for Krishna. Once a slight glimmer of taste comes from chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna, nothing in the material world can satisfy. It becomes unacceptable. And even though the conditioning is still there and the desire seems to remain, we don't run after fulfilling these material desires when they enter our mind. We resist because we know that the contact with the material energy is not in our interest. And the more we resist and the more we redirect our energies into devotional life, Krishna, being the all-merciful, supreme Lord, he grants, he gives, he bestows mercy upon us. He sees our effort to serve him, and he is so there to help us overcome the material condition, to change our character into that of a devotee who's kind, merciful, giving, loving, empathetic, properly situated in knowledge. By Krishna's grace, our character changes. We become from a ruffian, a dacoit, a rascal, into a kind, gentle being. This is the transformation process that takes place. We become from aggressive to gentle, from angry to sweet and loving. That whole different changed character is given to us, overcomes us. And that change is concrete. It's apparent. It's not just book knowledge. We actually experience that. And that helps us to approach the sweet, sweet Lord Krishna. He makes us into that type of person that we may approach him. And people notice this, and we notice this about ourselves. And we noticed it in Srila Prabhupada, why he was so attractive like a magnet. So many people came and were so happy in his association immediately. And so as we become purified, people like our association. Good things happen to us. We are blessed by others and we bless them. And life is good. And this is really the way life should be. The civilization today should not be chasing material desires. This is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. But by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, the golden age of Krishna consciousness has been opened and has started. And it will continue to multiply and increase and increase. And the vibration of the holy name is already circled the globe so many times, protecting and helping and purifying humanity. And it may not look like it, but it's happening because the will of Krishna is indefatigable. Can't stop it. Once the holy name, it's like a genie coming out of the lamp. He's out. You can't make him go back in. And Lord Chaitanya is spreading the holy name. So it's going to have its effect. It will have its effect. And whether we are part of the mission of Lord Chaitanya or not, that is a choice we have to make. But that mission will be successful. So we can only thank Srila Prabhupada for coming to the West and starting the ball rolling, giving us ruffians and dacoits and rascals the opportunity to serve him, to please him, and then to become learned in the Vedic scripture and learned in the process of devotion, and ultimately to be given a chance to serve the absolute truth, Lord Sri Krishna. So I'm wishing you and your family best health and happiness during this holiday time. And I pray that you may engage yourself as much as possible in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. When I make these videos, I don't just make them for the present, but I also make them for the future. And I pray that those in the future who see and hear these videos will become nurtured and nourished by these words and encouraged to take up the process of Krishna consciousness. And this is why my screen in the back is the Maha Mantra, because everything boils down to chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna. I will talk to you soon and see you all. Be well.